I'll give you an introduction. Okay, so I think it says we're live. All right, so hi everyone. This is Kai here. I'm the developer marketing manager at Reallusion. I'm here with Warlord, one of our veteran developers, been with iClone for many, many years, and we're going to talk to him about a whole bunch of things, ranging from iClone 6 to content in the marketplace and content store, as well as any other things that come to mind. But first, thanks for joining us, Warlord. Mike, thanks for being here, even though it's a little bit late over there. It's early morning here where we are in Taiwan, so we'll get started, I guess. But first of all, I guess I just wanted to get you to tell us a little bit about your history with iClone and how you started with iClone way back in the day.
Well, it was back, I think, about 2006 or somewhere in there that I discovered iClone looking for some storyboard type animation. I'd been using Photoshop and anything I could do with screen caps and things, but we needed to turn storyboards around faster. And I came across iClone, and I couldn't believe how simple it was to just print an image out of it. And then I realized, of course, version 1 was a little limited, but once we got the free cameras in version 2, I think it was, we could, all of a sudden, our storyboards went live. So it seemed like it was a progression of going from a still storyboard to an animated storyboard, I should say, where we didn't have any way to set up exact shots, but we could use props and blocks, kind of guessing where they would be from a diagram they would send me. And it was just amazing how all of a sudden we went from a static storyboard application to the director of photography calling me up and saying, we want you to run this angle, this angle, this angle, and get it back to us because we got people waiting on the clock. So that's how I got with iClone. It actually paid for itself the first night I downloaded it. I built a storyboard with it, I think, within 20 or 30 minutes. Had just a simple 2 or 3 shot storyboard going. Sent it out, and at first they were reluctant. They looked upon it as not being a tool. And there was a lot of resistance to it. So I used to put it in Photoshop and do some layers to it and some things to make it look like a different render. But after a while, when 2.5 came out, that changed. When 3 came out, it changed even more. And then 4 and 5 came out, and they pretty much dropped all those inhibitions against it. In fact, some of them are wondering why they have spent as much time as they have on more difficult animations when you work in previs like I do, or in any kind of pre-animation or pre-production, because nobody sees it but us, and nobody's ever going to see an iClone previs that I do because nobody's going to release that kind of a version. You wouldn't want to see a cheap version of your movie out there, so that's why you don't see much previs released. They don't want it released. It's in the agreements we have with them, and things. Otherwise, there would be a lot more iClone footage out there than you see.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So I guess you said you've been with iClone since iClone 1 then. That's way back in the day.
Yes, I can.
That's before I started, for sure.
See, I can remember my very first movie was I was just playing around. I was working, actually doing some basically grunt work on a James Bond movie, and way down in the trenches, and I just started playing with the characters. And when I saw you could put the faces on them, then I went through like all the faces of the Bond characters and stuff, showed them to one of the guys I was working with, and I actually got bumped up the ladder a little as far as being down on the food chain. So it really helped me immediately and things. And I was just amazed that you could do it. The only problem we had with version 1 was no free camera. But you know, you always find workarounds and things. So, but as soon as that free camera came out, everything changed.
Right on, right on. So, like, how has your use with iClone evolved over the years then, from storyboarding, like we're using it for these days?
Right now, it's still mainly storyboarding, video and still. That's still probably how I make the majority of my commercial usage. I do a lot of, I guess you'd say, the first layer of not photographic, but advertising images in iClone that we then Photoshop, or I may send to a better graphic artist than me, and they'll dress it up and give it a treatment or two and send it out. So we use it for still, just like you would use Poser, Max, Maya, any of those. And coming from a Max and a Maya background, I can't believe the price point of iClone and what it can do. It still just blows me away, because I'm used to paying thousands of dollars for my software. When I can get something that's a few $100 or a couple of $100s, I love it. And it makes more money faster.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, when I first learned iClone, I was amazed at how easy it was to learn. First of all, the learning curve wasn't that steep, compared to Max or Maya. I mean, I started at Reolution probably, I guess, was it 2010 or something, and I didn't really know anything about iClone, but I learned it pretty fast, and I was, pumping out, I guess, tutorials pretty quickly. But yeah.
Yeah.
Now I got a lot more knowledge, so I'm a bit more familiar with the software, luckily. But so I guess let's move on to content then. Content in the marketplace, and then your content specifically. So kind of where do you get your ideas for content, and why do you produce the stuff you produce?
Some things, a lot of things are things that I use in my job, and they allow me to make a different version of it and sell it, as long as it doesn't look like the original version, or as long as it's not too complicated. So a lot of my things are practical props that I use, because I don't really have time to spend other time doing that. Now, things like the peeps and the crowds, that's just trying to get a crowded scene, which up until just recently was difficult in any program. Most people don't realize it. They think these scenes are created with everything in one. They don't understand that this is layered, composited, lit through other software. If you see 1,000 people in a scene, if they're all animated, I seriously doubt all 1,000 of them are in that scene, even in today's modern software, because why would you want to do that when you can composite your groups in much easier and stuff?
Right.
But a lot of people tend to not think of 3D as 2D, and in the final analysis, when you render it, it's all 2D. So if you can look at it that way, then that kind of makes you understand how you can use it with After Effects and compositing software and things, because there's still so much that can be done with iClone, just green screening, a lot of things y'all have touched on over the years.
That's a pretty interesting take, actually. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I've personally used a lot of your low poly peeps and a lot of stuff that I've done. I used it in a tutorial or two, I think. And I thought it was just super intuitive, super easy to use, and I think for a lot of those previs people out there, it's super useful. And I really recommend any of those props to.
Well, I appreciate that. My goal is to make a prop. My goal is to make a prop where you right-click and use it, and you don't have to know anything about animation to use the prop if it's going to have animation built in it. Because that's the kind of audience we're looking at here. And I remember what it was like the first time I tried to animate anything, and I think it was Lightwave or something years ago. Didn't even know how to get started. Well, now you come into a real-time animation like this where you see what you're doing. People don't understand. We used to have to wait and do wireframe animations and then wait hours for that to be rendered and figured out we did something wrong and start all over again.
Oh, geez.
Just the amazement of real time. When I came across iClone, I couldn't believe what y'all were pushing, even dropping frames or however it is you do it, to keep it at real time and to keep it where you don't lose anything. I don't think people understand that was quite a balancing act, especially 10 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But another thing, getting back to it still is a balancing act, because another thing is the home audience doesn't have the computer that a professional is going to have in every case. In fact, in most cases, they aren't. And I hear of people running this off of laptops. I still don't run Studio Max off a laptop, even though I could, because to me a desktop is still the way to go. But when I hear people running iClone off of 5-, 6-year-old laptops, that's pretty incredible when you think about it, that they're able to do that and actually get a real-time preview back from it. But the peeps was a thing where I took a box and extruded it into a character, just a simple box, using extrusion, and then put a rounding modifier on it, and that kept it low, but you saw where I got that balloon head on the first generation. Well, now I actually have a generation 3 that looks normal and looks a whole lot better. It's just the time of getting to put them together, because what I want to do next is like my winter crowd and my pirate crowd, where you right-click and you want them all sitting down, boom, they all line up and sit down. And then you can put several of those in one. Build things like that where you don't have to take the time to build the crowd, because that's the problem everybody has. When it's tedious work, that kind of takes a creative drive out.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the faster you can work, the faster you can release that creativity, which really helps a lot. And I mean, just the simple right-click thing, that's awesome. When I used it the first time, I was like, what? That's it? It's super easy to use. So I was pretty happy about that, because
Well, and one of the main reasons is one of the main reasons is the way you all engineer your software. I mean, it just works so well with the major software. I use Max more than I use Maya, and it's almost like it was written for Macs, even though I know it wasn't. It's just everything translates so well, and as time goes on, more modifiers translate. We can do more things with it and stuff. I'm really excited about what's going to happen with the next generation. I can't wait to get my hands on your number 6 version.
Right on, right on. So what kind of software do you use to create these low poly crowds and all these other props that you're using? Mainly Max and Maya, you said?
Yes, mainly I use, of course, ZBrush for some things, for getting the original character out. Then I go into Max to rig. But lately, I have an account at Mixamo, and so I've been using Mixamo Online Rigging, which takes rigging from hours to minutes, and then all I have to do is go in, add some facial bones, and rig that, so you can see where that's saving some time. Also, they're getting to where they're producing pretty good characters, and I'm using their stuff in my pipeline to get these low characters. So I'm using Max, I'm using ZBrush, I'm using a number of different kinds of crunchers that will reduce the poly count, and I'm trying to keep it clean, but when you're talking about getting below 4K, you're not going to have an exactly clean topography on these things. So that's why I tell people, you're going to use them at a distance. You put them, if you can see the flaw, you're using them too close.
Yeah. You got a few rough edges there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, what kind of content and products do you think that Reallusion has produced recently that were particularly helpful to you?
Oh man, I think I've got
content or products that were.
I think I've got just about everything y'all have. If it comes out and I can use it, then that's what I do, because it deploys so fast and it works so well and it looks professional and things. Particularly things that you're doing now, where you're changing things in the content store, and I'm glad to see it, because every marketplace goes through this. There's people at all levels, and that's what it needs to be at the marketplace, and all prices, and to be able to differentiate between the way you're bringing in some of the big guns that have been doing this for years. That's awesome, because I've been using like DexSoft, some of these people's stuff, for ages, even in my own simulations, and to see them get excited in iClone, that also shows how big the product's growing, because they know it's another market to go to. So I'm glad to see the changes you're making in the marketplace even. I think that's going to eventually help everyone in the long run, because when you just think before the marketplace how little of content there was. Now think of how many developers there are in content. It's hard to keep a number on that. I don't know how y'all do it as well as you do, just the sheer volume that y'all go through and things. But this system that y'all are using now, that's going to help. That's going to improve things. It's going to help people also be able to find things on a budget, if they're looking for something that's cheap to get it done to show mom and pa, or if they're looking for something that's a little more expensive to use commercially. It's going to make it easier for that, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of the reasons we're doing that is because we just want to provide more content to the users. There's a lot of users, they don't really use the pipeline. Maybe some users just use iClone Pro or whatnot, and providing them with iContent options, more iContent options. That's kind of a secondary goal for us as well. We just want to provide, kind of enrich the content that's available with iClone. And actually, in iClone 6, we're going to be integrating the marketplace into the actual AP of iClone as well, so it'll be even easier to access and look for content like that as well. It's a little. I guess we'll have a video about that one of these days.
Fantastic. Well, of course, I'm also looking forward to that new render that I've heard a little about. I'm excited about the tessellation, and I'm excited about the smoothing. Those are fantastic things. But I'm more excited about renders and things like that, because I would like to bump up my use of iClone in terms of that. And I don't know how to say it other than it's just got to get a better render before I can use it commercially for some of the stuff I do. But again, looking at the price point that iClone is, they still got the best render out there for that market and things. So
yeah,
I'm excited. No, go ahead.
That's actually one of the directions we're planning on taking with iClone 6 is the visual quality. We're going to be really focusing on trying to improve the visual quality, like you mentioned, the renders. We're working with a couple of different people to kind of decide which technology we're going to go with. And we're not really we're still developing. We got engineers on the job, like almost 24 hours, but definitely visual quality is going to be one of the things that we plan on improving the most. And that's one of the reasons also why we were making these changes to the content store and marketplace, is because we want our main content store to reflect that visual quality, and we want people to feel comfortable with the the visuals and the commercialization of their products, and but definitely with with the tessellation, the procedural textures, and all that stuff, visuals are going to be vastly improved between 5 and 6. You can look forward to that.
And well, there's just a tremendous improvement, with the lighting and stuff as y'all have come over the years and things. I mean, you can get a tremendous render out of iClone. For what it does, I have no problem with it. It's just there's still also some doctoring done that one of these days I don't think you're going to have to do at all with the route y'all are taking. And there is a lot of different technologies out there to look at when it comes to a render, so I know those can be tough decisions.
Yeah, we will have, I think there's probably going to be definitely a lot more lights available with iClone 6 as well. We're not quite sure the total amount. I think it's almost 100, or we're not sure yet. We can't really give the information on that yet. But we'll have a lot more lighting options, so that'll make a lot of people happy, especially for the rendering, the visual quality as well. So we can kind of give give a little hint about that. We'll be releasing. Bruce and I make these iClone. Yeah, and pumping them up so you get some more info on that. If you want to, more information when it becomes available, I guess. Because even we don't really know at this point. We're kind of just,
I follow those
getting
close.
Live updates from the engineers.
Yeah, I don't miss.
Yeah, there's some of our more popular.
And they don't hand it out real easily, I bet.
Oh yeah, they're keeping it on the DL right now.
Yeah, I don't miss them.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to
Well, if it's anything like your previous upgrades, no, go ahead.
Oh, so you can go ahead. What are you saying?
I'm sorry, you dropped out. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay. No, I just we got a little lag going on. All right, we'll just move on then. Anyways, we'll move on to I guess other developers in the content store and marketplace. Besides yourself, what kind of people do you think are making some great content these days, and who would you recommend and would like to see more content from them?
Well, of course, as far as characters and things go, I've been pretty astounded by what Vit has come up with. Those are some pretty amazing characters when you realize what we started off with G1 characters years ago and his high resolution. So I definitely follow what's going on there and things. And I think that's probably going to be, I'm hoping, the future of what all characters look like and things. There's so many good developers. Certainly Miss Mike, Apparition. I think that's a big blow to our community to lose him. He was probably one of the most fantastic users of Studio Max I've ever seen, and I've worked for many years with it, and I learned a lot from just some of the videos he posted. So that was one I followed. That anything he come up with, I wanted to know immediately what it was. And of course, I work with Allie quite a bit, and she seems to pick some pretty good people in the store. So I follow quite a bit of theirs. There's just so many good things going on out there, and with the people that y'all are recruiting, the game character creators and things. I just can't see where content's ever going to be a problem in iClone again.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope to keep on, bringing more and more content for you guys. And yeah, definitely Mike is a guy who will be missed. I was in regular touch with him, and he was always one of the most, like you mentioned, creative users. All kinds of new experimental content. So yeah, he'll definitely be missed from our community. And he was producing stuff, right until the end, and he was working hard, and it was his passion, one of his passions in life. And so, we'll always, miss him for that. And definitely, I'm always in touch with Ali as well. We're both from Canada originally, so we kind of share that in common. Go Canada. That's about. Yeah, that's. I'm glad that you can give us some heads up on some of the great developers out there. So I guess how about any recent iClone videos or that you'd like to share or recommend? Any recent productions that you've seen personally that you'd like to give a shout out to on this Hangout?
Well, what comes to mind immediately, of course, is Norte or Taxon. His videos. I think nobody demonstrates them any better than just to go to Norte's channel and see, and you can see exactly what's done with them. There's another one I'm trying to think of. I think his name is Dennis. I can't think of his last name now. Oh, I wished I could. I hate this. He's another one that just does. I can't remember it now. He does fantastic. He did like a Borderlands takeoff and stuff. He just did some fantastic
Borderlands.
You know, and that shows you what people can do when they put their mind to getting the render they want. Because he did a cartoonish type deal that was just fantastic on that. There's just, again, there's so much out there. And, of course, anything that Mark Pleasant puts out, Small W Studio, I'm all over that just as soon as it's there. Cletus and everything else. I wished he would start a web series. Wished he had the time. And I wished he had the time to do more tutorials, because his tutorials are some of the best out there. And then, of course, when it comes to that, also, you can't forget Stuck on 3D, Chris. You know, hopefully he'll have more time when 6 comes around to be a little more part of the community, because I know he works hard. And I know he loves iClone, too. So between those two and Norte, there's nothing you can't find out you can do in iClone, or that you can't ask any three of them and probably get an answer back from.
Yeah, those guys are definitely some of the pioneers, and I'm glad you mentioned Mark, because you know, his tutorials have even taught me so much about, you know, using iClone and the way they're done. I love the production value and everything like that. So shout out to Mark Pleasant. I think he might be watching. He said on the forum he might be watching. So let's see. I actually met Stuck on 3D. I met him at I think it was GDC last year. And he was helping me with one of my demo projects, and pretty much he does lighting, I think.
Compositing and lighting.
Yeah, compositing and lighting. So he was just, you know, helping me out with all these lighting techniques, and I was just amazed at how much I didn't know. And the guy just, I mean, he can make iClone stuff just look great just through lighting by itself, you know. And
absolutely.
Yeah, he was awesome with that. So how about for you? Did you have any questions for us? Anything you wanted to know about the future of iClone or anything like that?
No, right now, just waiting on y'all to kick it out the door so we can get our hands on it. We're just waiting for that inevitable day that we see it's being released and we camp out on that doorstep, that virtual doorstep. At least I can stay warm when I'm camped out on your doorstep now.
Yeah. Stay home in your studio office there as well. So did you want to give a plug for your band there? It looks like you're wearing the T-shirt there. You're pretty proud of the band there.
Oh, no, this is my weapons of mass percussion deal.
Yeah.
No, that's just me. I had this made up on Zazzle and stuff. So around here in my hometown, nobody even knows who Warlord is. I live in a very small farming community. So they just look at me like, "What is that?" You know? In fact, most of the people here don't have a smartphone, and very few have computers. I've tried to explain what I do for a living, but they just look at me funny.
Yeah, just give you blank stares. Does that involve farming?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I used to be a farmer myself. I was raised on a farm.
Oh, right on. That's awesome. What state are you in, by the way? I think it was...
Texas. I'm in Texas.
Oh, right in Texas. Okay, right on.
Yeah. Or as we call it, God's country.
Right on. I remember watching some of your tutorial videos and hearing a train in the background and stuff, you know. So I imagine it was somewhere else in a rural area.
Yeah, that was just right across the road from where my office was at the time. So hopefully you won't hear them as much from now on since I've moved across town. Trouble is, moving across town is less than 3/4 of a mile. So that gives you an idea of how small the town is. So
it's a really small place, eh? Everyone knows your name?
Yeah, we got about 2,000 people here, and I've served in several elected positions. So, yeah, everybody gives a hand.
Right on. Well, I guess you know, thanks so much for joining this Google Hangout with us, and I hope everyone time and you know, got to know more about Warlord's content and you know, where we're going with iClone and the content store. And we just kind of wanted to do this just to kind of, you know, get more in touch with the community and get more feedback, because we're developing iClone 6. It's really important for us to kind of, you know, get veteran users like Warlord who have been with us from the beginning. Talk with these kind of people about where iClone 6 is going and where the future of Reillusion is going. So we really appreciate you joining us for this I guess kind of hangout, whatever you call it. Yeah, so I guess check out Warlord's Weapons of Mass Percussion. If you guys ever make anything, or if you ever do any recordings.
Okay.
But thanks for hanging out with us, and it was awesome getting to chat with you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
All right, so I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right, bye now.